Hey everyone, before I tell you about the conversation with Krishna, I just want to say a quick thank you for helping me reach this milestone. I'm so happy we are a 50,000 strong community of music and art enthusiasts, and you've helped me discover a lot of great artists this past year, and for that, I'm very grateful. And of course, a big shout out to my girls, Maddie and Shruti, as well, for always keeping it real and for setting an example of how to show up for each other and how to support one another. So thank you, girls. And yes, the conversation with Krishna happened because it was the number one request that came my way for the 50K special. So, of course, I had to reach out to him and I was very apprehensive and fully ready for disappointment. But he very graciously accepted. And for that, I thank him. So, I hope you enjoyed this conversation. We've covered a lot of ground in it, from his approach to songwriting, the reactions to his latest album, the music industry landscape, hip hop culture in general, and a whole lot more. I hope you like it, and I hope maybe it leaves you with a newfound appreciation for the art called rap. So, on that note, thank you again for being a part of the journey so far. There's bigger and better things to come on the channel, and I hope you'll consider hitting that like and subscribe button, which I've been reminded to say because I don't say it very often. But yes, let's get into the conversation. I'm taking a lot of learnings away from this one, and I'm truly very, very, very grateful to Krishna for taking the time to do this. So here we go. Real Talk, episode 1 with Krishna. Hi guys, welcome to the channel. This is Jyoti, and with me is KR dollar sign. Hello,
What's
Krishna.
up? What's up, guys? What's up, Jyoti?
Not much. I can't believe I just said that. So you're on the channel. Thank you so much for doing this. I know you don't do it often, so thank you.
No problem at all.
So I want to get to
I
know
should.
you. Sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I want to get to know you better as an artist and hopefully get a few questions answered that Awam keeps discussing in my comment section. That's the whole intent behind today's conversation.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. You were saying something.
No. I was just saying that it's about time. I mean, people ask me to keep doing interviews, but I think it's better to not, be out there all the time. And there's some things that are sort of better in the music if you don't know if you don't know every detail about a person.
Yeah.
You discover it in the music. It's a better way to discover it.
And it keeps some mystery alive, right? So,
Right, right.
um,
The
so what?
art of old celebrity.
Yes. Oh, I love that. Lovely. I want to ask you though, when did you just dropped Fall Off with the extended verse and the extra verse? When did you decide
Right.
to write that or include that in the video?
Um, that was written quite a while ago, actually.
Oh.
It was written a while ago. We just didn't have an opportunity to shoot the video, so it was just a waiting game on that. So
Okay.
when the lockdown eased up a little bit, uh, actually it didn't ease up when we shot it, but it was
Mm.
kind of ending, but we had to sort of put something out, and people are getting restless and stuff. That's why it's a really simple black and white video. We didn't do much.
Right.
There were only like 4 people on set.
Okay.
So we were just waiting on it. We were just trying to get somebody to shoot it and get a crew together, and as soon as we could do that, we did it.
Okay. So you wrote the verse quite some time back. I thought it would be like a recent addition. Um,
No. It was quite. It was. So when I had the idea of making the video, I wrote that verse then. So it was always in my head, but it
ah,
just happened now.
okay. You got inspired to write it. We'll get to that. But the album's out, and I'm guessing it's been at least a couple of years in the making from the time you thought about doing it till now.
Not really, actually. The album, I actually didn't even have a plan when I announced the album. I just knew I was going to make an album, but
Okay.
just the name Still Here was something that I wanted to have as an album name for a long time.
Right.
But the album itself was not really a long time coming or anything. It was just sort of, it was started in 2020, and again it was like, lockdown was going on. There was, studios were inaccessible and stuff like that, so that
Mm.
kind of prolonged the process.
Right.
um also, people think it's very like, it's very clear cut, but things aren't clear cut when you're dealing with labels and you
Of
know
course.
other artists, and so everything has to sort of play a role in it. So
Right.
sometimes you could be done with an album, but there could be one producer or somebody in the project who could be just taking a little extra time, so you have to wait on them.
Right.
So it was just a series of things that sort of took some time, but I guess it's all part of the game.
But do you think you've been able to gauge the real reaction because there's no gigs, there's no public places where you can hear the music?
You know what the sad part is, that I feel like, as soon as my sort of trajectory started going up, um, that's kind of when all of this started as well. You know, um,
Hmm.
we were doing shows and it was actually going good before COVID hit.
Right.
I'd done a couple of, I'd started doing shows more regularly and all of that stuff after taking a long break from performing live, actually, and then coming back to it, and then suddenly it was COVID.
Hmm.
So I'm pretty confident, like when things open up,
Yeah.
I'll be able to get back to it pretty easily.
Hmm.
um but yeah, I mean, I think it's just, we all gauge, everyone is gauging by numbers these days, you
Yeah.
know, and the reality of it is like, how many of these artists or how many artists can actually sell tickets, and how many can pull crowds, all of that is the real litmus test. But people haven't had the opportunity to go through that right now,
Hmm.
and and the lockdown has really been, in a way, good for hip hop as well, because
Oh, you think?
I've seen a lot more happening for the past sort of 2 years now, almost. So
Right.
I think through 2020 and now through 21, it's just a lot of stuff is happening, and um, it's just back to back everything, so it kind
Hmm.
of all snowballs into becoming a sort of bigger thing.
Right.
And I think when we get out of this, there should be a lot more opportunities for the genre.
Mm. No, I'm asking specifically because you've said in an earlier interview that sometimes a song gets a lot of numbers online, but then you don't really hear it making an impact. You don't
Right.
hear it in public places. So then is ubiquity going to be the measuring parameter now when it can't? It's going to be the numbers. And
Yeah, I think so, but I think, songs that do well don't do well just for 6 months.
yeah,
We are
right.
in a day and age that things are really quick now. Everything is
Hmm.
like, oh, I just saw TikTok and TikTok made this song
A
popular
hit.
because there
Yeah.
were 4 lines from the hook, and people don't know the rest of the song. You know,
Right.
there are so many songs these days that are popular that you'll go and check on YouTube, and below it people had commented, oh, came here from TikTok, or stuff
Hmm.
like that. So nobody's really paying attention to the songs anymore. And I
Hmm.
think the songs that people do pay attention to and play fully are the songs that sort of have a lasting value.
Stand the test of time. Which
Right.
actually leads me into my next question. Do you feel, and you mentioned the old celebrity culture, so along with that was the album culture back in the day. Do you think the
Right.
audiences today don't know the album culture or have probably forgotten it?
I think I'll be completely honest. I think most artists these days are making albums not because it benefits them in any way,
Hmm.
but monetary. You know what I mean? Like
Okay.
most labels or platforms prefer albums and projects because it's easier to promote, because it's a package, you can sell more, you know of
Right.
the content and stuff like that, then like a single, just one song. It doesn't seem like so much of a value proposition. So I think
Okay.
a lot of singers and artists and rappers and all, like, they are doing albums because that is really an avenue of, or avenue for revenue, you
Hmm.
know so
Right.
um so I think, apart from that, is album is an album really beneficial for an artist in this day and age? Maybe not, because I feel
Hmm.
like you waste a lot more than you gain you
Okay.
know I think there are every artist in this day and age is going to have 2 to 3 singles. Those singles are going to be big. Um, but apart from that, the rest of the songs are just gonna like sort of,
Fades
just,
away into
yeah,
the
it's just like
background. Mm.
some might work and you might make a video for it, but it's not really going to, be around for the long run, and
Right.
even the biggest artists you'll see on their album, there'll be 2 3 singles that are really working, but the rest of them are
Mm.
just, kind of uh, thrown along the wayside. And I mean, there are exceptions to this.
Yeah.
Internationally, like there's a Drake whose every song starts charting, but that's a very small sort of number of artists that can do that, and I don't
Mm.
think there are artists in India that can do that.
Okay.
So I think albums aren't really like uh, beneficial apart from, what I said earlier.
Mm.
And if yeah, and I mean, if you have the luxury to experiment with it, then great, you
Okay.
know but then you got to be in it for just the art. You know what I
Right.
mean? It's
Right.
just like I'm just doing this as a project that I feel like I can express myself fully and
I
get
have a
into
lot to
things that
say,
I don't.
and yeah.
Yeah, and I can use styles and do things that people, might not necessarily dig in a single, but
Mm.
I get the opportunity to present it in this project, you know.
Okay.
Uh,
But I'm
yeah,
surprised to hear you say that it actually makes sense monetarily, because I feel like the audiences today don't have patience. So an album will release, and then 1 month later they'll start demanding new music.
100%, hundred
Right?
percent. That's what happens with me as well. Like I put out the album, and 3 weeks later there'll be people asking me like, where are the new songs?
Right.
Uh, so I mean, that's the way it is. But
Hmm.
especially here, people
Hmm.
have a very short memory because of all the content. People don't get into it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like they're not like
Like sit and
into.
marinate in it and like listen to it over
Right.
and
Like
over.
I remember when we used to buy albums back in the
Yes.
day, like CDs, and I
Yes.
have like hundreds of them. I have like hundreds of like hip hop CDs that I can't even play anymore because I don't have a CD player. But
Yeah.
like those albums, like I remember like just playing them over and over and over again.
Same. Yeah.
And it was just like it was an experience because it was also like I feel like it was something about buying something physical.
Hmm.
Like you bought the
And adding
CD.
to your
That
library and keeping it on the shelf at
Yeah,
home.
and like you had that little pamphlet inside that you could read, and like
Yes, with
all
the
that other,
lyrics.
all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the lyrics, with the credits, with like some rap albums had really like like cartoon storytelling inside those little panels and stuff like that. So I think all of that added to the the value of
The
the
charm of
music.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think all of that has gone away now. So
Mm,
it's just it is what it is. You put out music, it's there the next day, and it's gone the next.
it's gone. Yeah. So, where are you the happiest then? When you're writing a song, or when you're recording a song in the studio, or when you're performing it on stage?
Um, I think I'm the happiest when I record a song that I like,
Ah, in the
which
studio,
is
behind the
rare.
mic.
Yeah,
Really? Which is
yeah.
rare.
So like, which is rare because I generally don't tend to like love my stuff. It's just the person I am. I have to like really go through like a lot. Like I have to go through it a lot of times to even like feel like okay, this is something I want to do.
Mm, mm.
There are plenty of artists. There are artists that can write in like 20 minutes and get done with it. Um, I don't feel like that's where my best work comes from. I
Okay.
feel like I'm the person who sits and thinks and then wants to
Well,
change it and then do things like all of that stuff. Um,
mm,
that being said, there are times that like stuff just flows really quickly,
right,
but that those are just times. That's not always.
right.
And so I feel like when I record a song that I like, that's the best moment for me. Like
The
when
happiest.
I'm done recording. Yeah.
Mm, nice. So then, talking about how you write, I wanted to get to your creative process as well. Is it that you just said that you write over and over, and the way your verses, at least the way I perceive them, there's so much packed in every line and every bar. Multiple references and double, triple entendres, all of that. Do you try and make sure when you're going over it again that you don't waste a single word? or do you just write it all in one go and then it's done?
No, actually, to be honest, I mean, being completely honest, I feel like the best lines don't come out of thought. They just come
Right,
out, and then, like, there is already sort of some thought behind it. I don't know. It's really hard to explain for me, because
right,
sometimes it's just like I wonder, like, oh, I can look back to certain lyrics and stuff, and I wonder, like, how I wrote that,
right. Yeah,
because I don't know how I wrote it. I just wrote it.
it was
It
just
was in the
flowing.
moment.
Yeah.
It was in the moment it happened. There are times where I feel like, okay, this is happening, but like I know a punchline, right? I
Mm,
have a punchline in my head. Now I want to work the punchline, so I sort of have that stand up comedy method where I go back and sort of build on the punchline, if
right,
that is a specific punchline that I want to say, you know
right.
otherwise a lot of times it just flows the way it is.
Okay, interesting. So, what I've noticed also in your songs is there's a very intriguing sort of combination in your personality, where on the one side there's so much bravado and confidence, and then on the other side there's also a lot of vulnerability and like honesty. Like your first sentence in the Still Here album is "Ye Gehra Hai Dard," and there's a
Yeah,
lot
gehra
of
dard ye kar was such.
right, and even
Yeah.
in Dream, you're sort of expressing yourself and opening up. So, how do you balance these two when you're writing? Does one side of your personality overtake the other usually, or how is it?
Oh, I think mostly it's the rapper in me that's sort of out here, you know, who's
Hmm.
doing the talking. And then there are times that I have to make a conscious decision to sort of be like, okay, I want to speak about stuff that I don't usually speak about, or I want to express myself the way I don't express myself normally.
Right. Yeah.
And it's an effort that I think of and I put in.
Mm.
So I start with that. So I start with, okay, this is the type of song I want it to be,
Mm. Mm.
and then just stay in tune with that, you know.
Okay.
Um, but mostly it's the rapper in me, because I guess it's just how we train ourselves, you know.
Right.
I train myself personally watching other people's videos and listening to other people's songs. And I mean, like, Indian rappers, whatever, whoever I might consider is doing a good job or whatever. That's how I listen to it.
Mm.
And then, you know, the devil on my shoulder says, you can do better than this. And then you'll go and, like, write something that you feel is better in whatever way it is.
Right. Right.
So it's just the sort of the competitive nature of what hip hop is,
Right.
and the way I have trained myself to write.
Okay. Because I hear it said so often that, for anyone to be able to be a real true artist, they have to be okay with being vulnerable and open and expressing, right? And I've always wondered, how
Right.
do rappers balance that? Because they have to be so super confident and, almost ready to battle at any time. And then they also have to be honest in their verses and their lines.
I
So,
think it also comes with age. I think when you're
mm,
younger, you don't want to be like. I also think. I mean, when you're young, do
mm,
you really know yourself fully? Do you
right.
really know your weaknesses? Do you really know what your shortcomings are, or all of that? You don't. So,
Mm,
how do you express it?
right.
So as you sort of mature and as you gain the experience that you gain, you are able to vocalize those things much easier.
Mm,
Uh, so I feel like that's a factor as well. Like, if you, for example, listen to Jay-Z 25 years, 20 years ago, not
mm,
25, maybe 20 years ago, it was a lot of, you know, talking about girls and, talking about how he sold drugs, to now, where he's talking about, his wife and, like, his investments and, his businesses and, uplifting sort of black youth and all of that stuff. So
right.
it's I think it's a factor of age as well.
Mm. It's interesting you brought up age because I have a question here. The age card has sort of been played against you in some beats,
Right.
and people when they
And
try
people
to
still don't know how old I am.
That may be a good thing.
There's still guesses going around.
Really, that's a good thing, I think.
Yeah,
Keep that a
yeah,
mystery as well. But and I want to ask you, and I'm going to be misquoting some great minds here, but there are two schools of thought. On the one end, there is the older I get, um, the more confident I get because I've learned more, I've experienced more, right? And on the
right.
other end is the older I get, the more I realize what I don't know. So I'm less cocky and I'm more humble. So between
Right.
these two extreme ends, where do you see yourself right now?
Honestly, I'm willing to learn at any point.
Mm.
I don't feel like I have even reached near the ceiling that I can reach. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like artistically or exposure wise or I mean, in any aspect of this music, I feel like I have a lot more to sort of gain and to give, so
Right.
I'm open to whatever. If if tomorrow, like uh, some 21-year-old rapper comes to me and then he does something that's better than me, or he can do a certain thing that's better than me, and he
Mm.
has a technique for it, I'm obviously going to value that technique, because
Mm.
it's not necessary that you have to know everything. You don't
Right.
have to know everything,
Yeah.
but you have to be open to it, though. you know and as I said earlier, like, the whole challenging myself thing is part of that, is part of
Mm.
how I feel like, this is this is not it. you know
Mm. Mm.
there are things that I am better at today than I was 10 years ago, maybe, but there are still things that I am going to be better at 5 years from
That I
now.
still have to
you know
learn. Right. Yeah.
yeah.
So you're
So,
constantly in that learner mode and
yeah, I mean, you can't rest. The day you start resting and start thinking that this is it, then this is it.
right. Right. Lovely. But having said that, and just every day when you wake up, you kind of wake up to maybe someone saying something about you online or in a live session somewhere or releasing a diss against you. How do you have you come to peace with the hatred that comes with the game, or it gets to you
In
sometimes?
fact, I feel like I am a lot better equipped to handle it than a lot of people I know, and I don't know why
Really?
that is. It
Mm.
just it is the way it is. You know,
Mm.
um, I don't even, like, honestly. I think people are bored of doing that with me, because I don't get that anymore. There was a time when it was like, I used to get like a lot of like hate and like people, saying things, and it doesn't happen that much anymore. It's just, I think it's just people have moved on from it, and uh, I'm quite immune to it too. Maybe I don't see it anymore. Maybe I don't
Okay.
feel it anymore. I've just come to develop really thick skin, so I don't care that much.
Mm.
So it just, I mean, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, people who are sitting on Instagram posting memes or posting comments and stuff like that, like, you just think, what do they have going on
Mm.
that is going to, that is going to impact your life? It's not.
Right.
They probably don't have anything going on. They're probably just sitting at home really bored. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
So why would you let that, you know, come and affect the way you feel?
All right. Lovely. I want to ask you, do you feel free as an artist today, having reached this point in your career? Or when you're writing, there's so many things you're thinking about. Will it be a hit? Will it have a commercial sound? Will it get accepted by, more people?
I don't think we're ever free of that, to be honest. We are free of that when we've maybe, like, done everything we can, and we've reached wherever we want, and after that you just make music primarily for yourself. Maybe
Hmm.
then we're free. But at this position, uh, I don't think. I mean, I think of 100 things. I think of
Right.
like everything. And there are songs that don't make it. There are songs that make it. So,
Hmm.
sometimes you yourself think that, okay, maybe this won't work, and it works. Sometimes there are
Hmm.
songs that you think will work, and it doesn't work. So there's no sure short way of knowing these things,
Hmm.
but you can just sort of, I think, consistency, one, and then secondly, just kind of, you know, putting more stuff out there because you don't know what's going to work. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like, just don't stop doing that, because the day you stop experimenting, it might really, nothing might work, you know. So
Right.
you have to do what people like, but you also have to do things that you think that they might like, and you know what, how I mean, you they might actually like it. So it's just basically creating a, you know, it's like creating a taste. You know, people that haven't tasted a certain flavor won't know what that flavor tastes like until they
Yeah.
taste it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you just have to do what you have to do.
Okay. Interesting. But
Sorry, it's a bit convoluted because that's how
no,
I know.
I'm trying to understand because if you, I don't know how many of my reactions you watched, but early on when I think one of your earlier songs that I reacted to, I was very vocal about how I admire you a lot because you've stuck to what you love doing in terms of the purity of the art, right? And you've not
Right,
sort of thought about 10 things when you've written your songs. You've just written them to express what you're thinking and feeling.
right.
So how much of that is still there, or has that gotten some added things over time?
No, not really. Actually, my what has worked for me, I feel, is also the fact that people like me for what I do and what I
Mm,
do.
mm,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
The way I write is the way I write. It's
Mm,
not a way that anyone else wrote. They might write now, you
right.
know.
Yeah.
Now people have started doing all these things. But I've been doing this for, I don't know when. Like, this is how it started and this is how it is, you know.
Mm,
So I haven't really changed what my core competency is. I'm still doing what I'm doing and I like doing it.
yeah.
But what happens is that you feel like you don't want to plateau. So if you
Mm,
don't want to plateau, you will feel in your head that, okay, maybe I should also do this and maybe I should also try this, you know, which will sort of help me break out of this little box,
right.
you know.
Right.
So that is, I think that is important.
Yeah.
And I think that is important for every artist. You
Right.
know, you can't, you might be good at what you do, but you can't be content with just doing that.
Right. Which is why I think the thought behind Still Here, because I read your interview with Rolling Stone and you were like, let me see if this will have a commercial value to it. And then maybe the next album I'll have a theme in it. So
Yeah, I
is
mean,
that,
see,
yeah.
is it people expect you to make, that's what I was saying earlier, like if you make an album for the art of it, then that's
Mm,
great, you know.
mm,
But at the end of the day, I made an album that people want to see good numbers from. And I'm
mm.
saying people, I mean everyone involved, you know. It's
Okay.
just not only me and, you know, 200,000 people, you know. It's like I have to get millions of streams, I have to do all of that. So it has to sort of balance out somewhere. It has to be authentic, but
Mm,
it also should have an an appeal that people can listen to, that I can gain newer listeners, do all of that.
mm. Right.
That's where the thought of having people like, you know, like how Bacha was on Roll Up. So that
Right.
what that does is just opens up, you know, what I do to his audience and what he does to
Mm,
maybe some of my really hardcore audience, you know. So
mm. Okay, there's another thing about observational art and experiential art. Like, I've heard a really renowned musician say this, that contrary to popular belief, artists don't necessarily need to write from just personal experience. They can also write from observation, which got
right,
me thinking. And I was like, yeah, that's actually true. For example, I think Vijay was written from
right,
observation, right?
yes.
So for you, how much is one easier than the other, or most of your stuff is personal experience based?
No, I don't think it's I don't think there's a difficulty level in either of them. It's easy to write.
Okay.
With putting someone else's experiences in words in your
Mm.
song, I
Yeah.
think then it just becomes your responsibility to do that well and to do justice to it, if you know
Mm.
what I mean.
Yeah.
Like a Vijay, if if it wasn't genuine and if it just seemed like like he's just done it for the sake of it,
Mm.
then it won't have the impact that it does. And
Mm.
I say it does because when it came out, I don't think it really had an impact because of whatever was going on at that time with my music and whatever.
Mm.
But I felt like, that was a song that had a lot of potency and could have been sort of marketed better and all of that stuff, because I feel like that
Mm.
it just came from a genuine place, and it talked about a genuine problem, and it talked about it in a way that was very real, I feel. you
Mm.
know
Mm.
so I think that's what it is. If you're writing from someone else's perspective or someone else's story, then just do justice to it.
Mm. So is that why you don't write songs about love? Cheeky question. I had to throw that
um
in.
no, I don't do that because of I mean,
Just
honestly, if you hear Sellout, I've tried all of that stuff, and
I haven't heard Sellouts. I've heard one track.
yeah,
I
yeah,
want to
that's it.
react to
I
it.
think.
Huh.
No, I mean, you don't need to react to it. It's fine. I mean, it's an old album, and
Avam wants
and
me
I
to.
and I've moved on past it.
Okay.
But I feel like that's just an experience that uh, I don't know. I don't know if I'm equipped to put those experiences into words, and also I don't know how people are going to react to it. So like I'm a little
Really
cautious about it. Yeah, I feel like I have too much of a sort of different kind of fan base for like.
tough guy image, or I
I
think
don't
it,
think it's my image itself, but I think it's just the expectation of people. You know what I mean? Like it's just
mm,
like even like a trap song like throws them off. So I'm like just not really sure if like a love
they're
song will
ready
kind
for
of.
it. Mm.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
that's
So that
that's where experimenting comes in, no?
I have made those songs. I made
Oh, okay.
lots of these kind of commercial songs that are super like super commercial sounding also. But
Mm,
and I made them years ago. Like it's not even new.
okay.
And I've been making them. It's just they've never come out. And maybe one day they do.
We will look forward to it. But you said earlier that you're always open to growing and learning and evolving, even now. So it kind of reminded me of something Kendrick said once in an interview, that when he calls himself the greatest living rapper, the greatest rapper alive, he's kind of doing it more to challenge himself and to make sure he is writing the best verse in every song so it has the maximum impact. And your first drop from Still Here was Living Legend. You
Hmm.
were, it was quite the flex. So is that also
Hmm.
where you're coming from when you're calling yourself that? It's kind of you challenging yourself.
I think we challenge ourselves. I'm saying we because I feel like that's just a general sort of rapper habit.
Mm.
Um, at least mostly. But I think we challenge ourselves every time. And there are times that you just have to sit back and kill that instinct, because there are songs that don't require you to do so much. You know what I mean?
Mm.
uh, like sometimes like we tend to go, I mean, given the opportunity, we'll go overboard on everything. You know what I mean? Like
Really?
just to show you that I can do this.
Right.
But there are times that you have to say, okay, this is not the song. This is
Calm
not the
down.
song to put like 400 bars in. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
So you just have to like you have to know these things, and that I think that comes with experience too, like how to like play a song a certain way.
Right. Okay. Because I know Bruno Mars, when they released "Leave the Door Open," he was like, it was literally so many chord changes and so much going on. It was the musicians showing each other what we can do and kind of telling the public, we can do all of this. So I
Right.
think it's kind of the same thought. Okay. Um, so I was in this Spaces room on Twitter, and A.R. Rahman was on it, and there was a very interesting statement that was made, which is all music is at the end of the day an approximation of emotion. And I found that very strange coming from A.R. Rahman, because his music is very close, if not completely, like bang on with the emotion. So, how much do you feel you reach that final sort of product that you've envisioned in your mind when you're working on a track? Is it always 100% how you conceived it or thought of it, or?
No, I think it's just it flows. It flows the way that it has to flow. Like if like you were talking about the intro from Still Here,
Mm,
I think that that intro has parts that are very accurate in the way that I wanted to project it. You know,
mm,
like
mm.
how it starts, and there are parts that are very like are honest, and then there are parts that are very sort of rap oriented and maybe don't have the same emotion. You know what I mean?
Okay, okay.
So it's like it's
So it
almost like
evolves as it goes.
honestly I feel like that track is kind of the dichotomy that is in my head, you know,
Okay, yeah,
about like being just being a rapper and just being like, oh, I want to just kill this track every time, and then
right.
being someone at the same time who wants to sort of be genuine as well and say
Mm,
things that are not always just rap.
mm,
So
mm,
it's just I think that's what happens in most tracks. You can just do the best you can,
mm.
and what what people feel is ultimately the most important for
Right,
me.
right.
If I tried to make this track, and if like if I wanted to have a certain impact with a track like Dream,
Mm,
then Dream would sort of, or Dream should resonate with people, and I think that it did.
yeah,
So
that's
I
my
think
favorite track.
that, yeah, so I think that's important. Like I feel like what how people react to it is important.
Right. So if you're producing the music for your own track, do you think that helps?
Uh, Not for me. Like I used to produce music.
Mm,
I used to produce beats and stuff like that. But
mm,
I stopped because I felt like it's a whole different sort of thing to spend time on. You know
mm,
what I mean? Like
mm,
it takes a different process. And most producer rappers will always tell you that it's easier to make a beat for someone else than it is for yourself. you
mm,
know and
mm.
I felt this too when earlier when I used to make beats. I used to make
Right,
beats, but I never used to feel like rapping on them as much. you know so I kind of concentrate on writing and finding the kind of beats that I want at that
right.
moment.
Because your overly critical side of you kicks in, and then you're like, maybe I can find a better beat.
Yes, that plus, if you think about it,
Mm,
I could spend 2 hours making a beat,
mm,
right?
right.
And in the end not like the beat.
Mm,
Or I could spend those 2 hours browsing through 2000 beats and more likely find the beat that I want.
right. Okay. Okay. So does the beat come first, or does your verse? It is
No, the
your
beat
verse
definitely. The beat always comes first.
always. Okay. Okay. Interesting. What kind of beats are you then gravitating towards right now?
Right now, honestly, I want something more up tempo and stuff because I've done a lot of this stuff that is sort of dark and all of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So that plus, I think this is like drill season going on. So
Yeah.
I have
Awesome.
some new stuff up my sleeve.
Interesting. I actually really enjoyed What's My Name.
Yeah,
It was a vibe. Yeah.
yeah, the bop.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, so I was listening to your interview with Bobby Friction back in the day,
Mhm.
and you were discussing culture. And you said that the audiences and even the younger sort of lot of rappers, they don't know because they've never really engaged with the originals, the OGs, and sort of got that aspect of the culture. So can you explain culture to me briefly?
Hip hop culture.
Yeah.
Hip hop culture is. I think hip hop culture is basically um, the culture that the the art is based on, and that
Mm,
comes from the struggle that it's based on.
right.
You know,
Mm,
to understand where hip hop comes from gives you a lot of perspective in terms of what it is and what it should be.
right.
I'm not saying that you have to stick to the culture and you have to only rap about, um, upliftment and nothing else. I'm not
Mm,
that person. I actually do not enjoy preachy rap at all.
mm,
But at the same time, I feel like it's um it's our duty as, proponents of this culture, to know who came before us, to
Right.
know who put in that work, to know how it got here, you
Mm.
know.
Yeah.
So if and that would mean knowing your hip hop from at least the 80s, the late 80s, the early 90s, when things were
Mm.
blowing up. How
Mm.
did it get so big in the early 2000s? I mean, there are things that you really need to know. And it's amazing that a lot of young rappers these days, they don't even know songs from like the mid 2000s,
Right. Oh, I would have
you
thought the
know?
90s.
No, like 90s is out of the question. 90s is like listening to the 60s for them. But like early and mid
Sad.
2000s,
Mm.
early and mid 2000s, they don't know. They don't know no music from them. All they know is like a lot of them know Eminem, but they know Eminem from like 2014.
Yeah.
That's it's just a really strange thing, because that's where it started. You have to see where it started. My
Mm.
first instinct with any rapper has always been, okay, this is a rapper I like. Let me see where he started. You know what?
Mm.
Or people listen to rappers like Tech 9 in India now.
Mm.
I was
Mm.
listening to Tech 9 in 2002. I
Right.
have albums from Tech 9 in 2002, 2001. I have CDs. So it's just how deeply you get into it. Once you get into it, you can find all of this stuff. And
Mm.
there are not a lot of artists or rappers in India that have put in that work, or who have even dived or dove into like this sort of this search for new or old, or different rappers and different styles and all of that. I feel
Mm.
like it's just never ending, and I used to get so like it as a as when I was young, or as a kid, it used to excite me to find
Yeah.
artists that other people didn't know about you
Right.
know
Mm.
so I think that's missing now. And I also feel like it's probably, you could say, YouTube and all of that stuff. It's just made people lazy.
In fact, it's all available, at the touch of your
No, but
keyboard.
that's
So
the
I don't
thing.
know.
Like when something is available, or
Yeah.
when you know that you can get it any moment, you'll
Yeah.
probably likely not go out after it and try and
Yeah.
find it. I used to go to like these big HMV CD stores and like
Yes.
search for hours,
Yeah.
and find those CDs that were like hidden at the back.
Mm-mm. But what do you think the audiences, in particular in the Desi hip hop scene, are probably not getting about the culture or are misunderstanding the culture? Is there anything?
Honestly, I just think, I don't think it's misunderstanding and not getting it. I just feel like you should know where it comes from, so you know where it's going. That's
Mm.
it. It's as simple as that. I think
Mm.
in Desi hip hop, we have been introduced to hip hop very late,
Mm.
and I don't think there is deep understanding of rap and hip hop music
Right.
and culture in general. you know
Yeah.
so if that deep understanding is not there, uh, or that deep sort of love for it is not there, then you're just not going to sort of pay attention to the founding blocks of what you're trying to reap the benefits of.
Yeah.
uh, so I think we don't, honestly, we are so far away from it that I don't even want to talk about it. I mean,
Okay.
like it's
Okay.
just it's just uh it's just something that I feel like I don't know if there is a solution for it. But it's just sometimes you read comments and stuff, and
Yes,
it's just
that's
like you
why.
have
Yeah.
like you just realize like people have no idea,
Mm. Mm. Because
you know.
I'm just asking because I see all these conversations or even debates happening in the comment section. Like this is the culture. No, this is not the culture, and you don't know it, and So
I mean, yeah, whatever. I mean, I guess
um,
you gotta leave it to people to figure it out.
yeah, I guess. Can you define underground for me? Because I honestly want clarity. There are people who are like Krishna's underground and respect and da, da, da. And then some people are like, no, he's not anymore. And it's
I
almost
think
like,
in people's heads, like there's this magic number. I think it's like 100K Instagram followers that suddenly pushes you from underground to like commercial. I have no
I don't
idea
know.
I have no idea. I mean, that's what I'm guessing. I mean,
No,
I
so
don't know what that
I
means.
I was confused because I'm like, are you underground because of the kind of sound your music has, or because of the numbers, uh, like commercially, the kind of monies you're making, or the number?
I used to like being called underground in 2009, 8 maybe.
Right,
But do not have any love for the word anymore. Like it doesn't really mean anything to me. You
right.
know, uh, who's underground anymore? You can make a song, you can put it out. Back in the day, okay, so the actual underground would be back in the day when we used to press CDs and distribute CDs, and you needed to be signed to a label to distribute CDs to do all of this. If you were popping underneath that sort of
Mm,
layer
mm,
of commercial marketing and labels and all of that, if you were underneath it,
mm.
which is you were make pressing your own CDs and maybe bootlegging them and selling them, and only people locally knew you, that would
Right,
be under,
right,
you know
right,
but that is because why did people know people locally? Because that's the access they had, that's it.
right.
But today, I can make a song. I could be nobody. I can make a song. I put it on YouTube. It's not local anymore.
Mm. So I feel like it's almost the audiences need to decide. They think underground as a tag is a, it's like a badge of pride, and if I remove the underground tag from my favorite artist, then
It
you
honestly
know
doesn't matter.
doesn't matter.
If you like someone's art, then that's all that matters.
Right.
It's not about underground, not underground, whatever.
Yeah.
The
Right.
association usually is that when you say someone's underground, you say that they are keeping it real. Basically,
Mm.
you're
Mm.
saying that they are not compromising on the values that you would hold in terms of hip hop and stuff. Like they have good lyrics and they're not doing commercial stuff and they don't have like cars and girls in their videos. That's what I'm guessing. That's what they mean. You know,
Right. Okay.
uh, but it doesn't matter. Like if you could like underground music, but you could still like I like Brother Lin Chung, but I still like 50 Cent. You know what I
Mm.
mean?
Mm.
Like
Mm.
they're two opposite spectrums, like opposite ends of the spectrum, and it doesn't matter. You know.
Mm. Because they keep saying that my favorite artist is underground, and I wish he wouldn't be underground anymore and become successful. And then when he is successful and he's not underground, then they're like, anyway.
Like, oh,
eh,
he's sold out and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. So they need to decide honestly. But I quick question. You just said dived, and then you said dove, and I'm really curious. Is it skydived or sky dove? What's correct? I could
I
never.
think I skydived. I think it's that.
I skydived.
I was kind of confused about it too. That's why I said
Right.
both.
Yeah. Um, so your online presence, quickly, I want to talk about that. Your Twitter bio says, "I make rap music, also bad jokes." Um,
Right.
we've heard a lot of your music. Can we hear a bad joke?
No, I don't. I actually keep making bad jokes. The people around me don't like it. But I don't make jokes in the sense of like
Write it
I'm going to
down.
tell you a joke.
Yeah.
It's just that
Mm.
it's kind of connected because it's mostly just wordplay and
Wordplay.
puns.
Right.
So it's like sometimes they're really lame, so like I just feel
Oh,
like
yeah.
it's I should put it out there
Did you hear about
in
the
case.
Italian chef that died? He
Oh, this
passed
is a joke.
away. He passed away. Okay, so I want to know on Twitter, you don't reply, or you don't engage a lot online, and when you do,
On Twitter or online?
I mean, um, online in general, you don't go live a
Hmm.
lot. You don't, but when you do, and this is just some khabris who have told me, you do reply to some opinionated comments. For example, when someone says you have the same cadence in every song or the same
Hmm.
flow, things like that. Um, what's the funniest comment you read online? Just that kind of
About
made you
me?
laugh out loud. Yeah.
No, I honestly I didn't I, did- I they can, what was it? I think it was a post recently.
Hmm.
Somebody sent it to me about how I'm a devil worshipper and stuff. I think that was quite funny. And there was like some 5, 6 slides proving that I worship the devil.
Oh, they were serious about it.
And apparently I don't show my sleeves, or I don't wear half sleeves because I have like this tattoo of some Illuminati tattoo on my arm, which I don't, by the way. I'm wearing half sleeves. uh, so I don't know, it's kind of funny.
That's hilarious. Wow, so much free time. There's a lot of controversies that keep happening. I don't want to name them, but you never comment. You stay silent about those things. Why is that?
Mhm.
Just not your scene.
Because it has nothing to do with me.
Hmm. Okay. Even about hip hop.
Honestly, what
No.
is hip hop? I mean, what about hip hop? Who said what about hip hop?
Okay, never mind. We'll
It
move
doesn't
on.
matter. People, if
Hmm.
people don't know about hip hop, their opinion doesn't matter.
Hmm. Okay. Um, Honestly, I want you to tell me on record, what do you think of reaction channels? I have seen your answer to this in Rolling Stone, but I want to hear from you. Do you think?
I
Okay,
think
let me rephrase that. Do you think they're a good marketing tool?
reaction channels are good if they're actually reaction channels. You
Okay.
know what I mean? Like,
No.
I hate looking at reaction channels with people not reacting.
Okay.
Like, at least do what you set out to do. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, that should be like really basic.
I don't
So
react
it's like,
though. I'm usually quite straight faced.
no, but honestly, to be honest, like, I'm not saying that, oh, you need to like jump in your seat and
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
hold your face while saying like, wow, all that. No, you don't need to do all that. But um, if you, by the end of it, have a genuine opinion that matters, even
Mm.
that's good,
Mm.
you know. But a lot of it is just, for the sake of it. It's just
Right.
you don't add anything. You end up, and when you put like that, like, not you, but like I'm saying in general, when people put like, I've seen a lot of clickbait sort of headlines and stuff on
Mm.
reaction videos.
Mm.
I mean, you're reacting to the video, but why is this there? So it just
Mm.
becomes clear that you're doing it for a motive, and there's no genuine sort of love for the music or analyzing the music or a review or nothing. So
Mm.
I
Mm.
just think it's just I feel like that you guys do a good job in terms of at least you review it and you talk about the song and all of that. And I think that's important. So,
Mm.
I
Okay.
think
As long as you're not pandering to fan bases and just keeping it real, maybe.
also the fact that some some of them are like really funny because uh, they pander to fan bases in weird ways. Like, I think they try and balance it out constantly.
Mm.
And I think if you try and start, or if you start doing that, then there's no end to it.
Mm.
You'll put like one video of this person to appease their fans, and then you'll do one of this to appease their fans, and both of them you like. It's just kind of, it's sort of, it's not genuine. So
Right,
it just,
right. Okay.
I feel like that's
Do you think then the audiences, when they go to reaction channels, there's a lot of conversations that happen in the comment section. So that way it's kind of getting, the song talked about. Do you read them firstly, these comments, or not at all?
comments on reaction channels.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't watch reaction channels that
Okay.
much anymore.
Okay.
I mean,
So,
I did like earlier, like in the beginning, I thought it was cool
right,
that people were reacting to my songs, but then I started like seeing a formula, and then I was like, whatever,
right.
it doesn't matter anymore.
Okay, so the question is then sometimes audiences start arguing with each other and name calling and all of that when,
That's under every video. That's not even only
yeah,
reaction channel.
right, right. So does that
Yeah,
annoy you ever, or you're like,
not really.
knock
I mean,
yourselves
it's
out?
okay.
Okay.
People will do whatever they want to do. I'm
Hmm.
not here to tell them what to do. But the fact is that if they have a genuine opinion and if they are speaking facts, then hold your own. You
Right,
know.
right,
Um. Also, I think it's kind of weird because somebody will say like, this person's fan base is like this, and that person's fan base is
right.
like this. But honestly, fan bases are big. Fan
Mm,
bases will have lots of kinds of people. You're not going to
mm,
have one kind of person.
mm,
There
mm,
might be a majority, you
mm,
know, I would like to think that, my fan base is sort of smart, and they'll kind of refrain from doing what other fan bases do, you know
Mm.
but you can't control everyone.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
there's always going to be people that are going to say stuff that is sort of offensive, and then there are going to be people reacting to it as well.
Mm.
So
Mm.
it's
So, a few times that I have not really felt the track or enjoyed it as much as some other track. I get comments saying maybe you didn't feel it because uh, this is a guy song. It's a guy vibe, and I don't know about that because I've liked a lot of songs which are the guy vibe. So I don't know.
what's a guy vibe?
I don't know, like Jungli Kutta, for example, Raval and Bhark's song is, it's
Okay.
like so. And then the lo-fi sort of romantic rap songs, then they'll be like, oh, that's your vibe. So uh for me it doesn't matter, but I do get those comments. So my question is that do you think the desi hip hop tracks, most of them, are sort of addressing a male audience, and that's why the female listenership is kind of low, or what are your
I think
thoughts?
most of this world is addressing a male audience in everything they do.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
So it doesn't come just from, or it doesn't only be like only about music. It's
Right,
everywhere. So how
right.
does it, how do you then separate that, and how do you separate music from that? And hip hop in its sense is a bit like, you know politically incorrect maybe, or a little misogynistic at times. So
Mm.
when you combine all those things, then it's obviously going to be more male dominated, the listenership.
Mm.
And when it's that, then you are constantly making songs like that. So it's a vicious cycle that
Okay.
you um I mean, yeah, I guess, like, even my following and stuff, it's mostly male.
Yeah.
So, and sometimes like other people have told me that, oh, you should make songs for girls and stuff, that it'll sort of change it. But I don't think it'll change it. I
Mm.
think it'll just I don't know what'll happen, you know.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's really. I don't want to get a different kind of following by making different songs. I want to
Exactly.
make
Yeah.
the songs that I like to make, and then maybe hope that everyone will like it.
Right.
You know?
Because when I found
So,
your music, I gravitated towards you and a lot of other good artists, and it wasn't like the sound of the music repelled me or anything. So
right.
I'm still trying to understand why um more girls are not listening, because even on my channel there's mostly a male audience.
Yeah, girls are not. I think we need more female rappers too.
And
I
yeah.
think what happens is once you have those idols in place,
Mm.
um, there'll be more girls trying it out, and more girls rapping, and more girls rapping means more girls listening.
Mm.
The biggest problem with hip hop, or in hip hop audience in India, is that most of the listeners want to be rappers. You know,
Oh, okay. Mm.
which is not the case in, like, in bigger, or in bigger countries in terms of hip hop, bigger hip hop culture, or
Right.
in the UK, in the US.
Right.
Your audience is not people who want to rap. Your
Yeah.
audience is people who like the music. In
Right.
India, it's like most of your audience is कि हाँ मैं भी rap करता हूँ. You know what I mean?
Mm. Mm.
So I think
Interesting.
that's a big difference, and I
Okay.
think once we move past that, that's when we start really having uh,
Mm.
a sort of bigger audience.
And the music landscape, I feel, in India is sort of broadly divided into commercial and non-commercial, and it's not really genre specific or genre based. There are no genre based radio stations even, and things like that. Do you feel like artists have a responsibility to kind of create music that removes those boundaries, or you know,
No, I don't think so. I
no?
think I don't think it's up. Honestly, hip hop nobody cared for a
Mm.
couple of years ago.
Mm.
now hip hop is big, suddenly everyone thinks that, oh, we should put hip hop in our songs and we should put rappers in our songs. Why is it up to hip hop to start fusing genres? You know what
Oh,
I mean?
yeah, but I mean,
I know what you mean. I know what you
yeah.
mean. Like generally artists should, like, I'm not saying that, but the
Mm,
point is that I honestly I don't want to listen to other genres. Like if I listen to hip hop, I want to listen to hip hop, you know? And I
mm,
don't necessarily like it when it's, fused into rock, or if it's fused into, you know, sort of down tempo, I don't know, electronic music. I don't know. It's not my vibe, you know.
yeah.
I'm saying that people who want to do it, go ahead, do it.
Mm,
I've tried experimenting too. I've mixed it with electronic music. But
mm,
I think it's just genres will always be genres because there's a clear cut sort of liking for it.
mm. What about then rap being fused into commercial songs? And
Rap is honestly, like, if you've seen, a lot of genres have come and disappeared in the
yeah,
last 5 years,
right.
30 years, I would say. Has rap disappeared? No. It's
Mm,
just become bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's only because rap has the capacity to sort of fuse into whatever you put it.
mm,
You know what
right.
I mean?
It's like water.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Mm,
So like when like the electronic wave was happening, like there were rappers on like
mm. On the track.
Avicii songs and like this guy's songs
Guerra
and David
songs.
Guetta songs, yeah,
Yeah.
and then uh when rock was big, there was rappers in rock songs, and
Yeah.
so it's just always like it's just something that just fits in well.
Mm,
So
mm.
I don't think it's gonna go anywhere.
Okay. Hip hop is not a trend. And
Hip hop is not definitely not a trend. Hip hop is probably the sort of has the longest run now in the history of music,
yeah,
being as being the top genre.
yeah. I think it also has a lot to do with people really getting to know the person who's written that song and is also, rapping it and singing it, which you don't get in other music forms. Someone else is writing, and maybe
No, but in big commercial rap records, the writers are rarely the rappers.
really.
Um,
Oh, I didn't know that.
yeah, yeah. Like super big records, there are like 20 writers.
Hmm.
So it's they might write some of their worst, but there'll be inputs from everywhere else too. You know,
Okay. Right.
like
Right.
Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre's song, that's Still Dre song, is not written by Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre. It's written by Jay Z. So it's
Hmm.
just so it's in big records, this stuff happens.
Hmm.
I think hip hop is big and remains big because hip hop allows one the artist to say things that he would not be able to say in other genres,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? Um, Two, that it's super easy and accessible.
Hmm.
I don't need anything to start rapping.
Right.
To
Yeah.
become a rock musician, I need either a guitar or drums or vocal training or something.
Hmm.
You know, as a rapper, I don't need anything.
Right.
And if I have the talent, then I'm gonna do well. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
so it's just I think it's just the sort of low barrier of entry.
Right. Maybe that's why everyone wants to rap.
Yeah, that's why all our audience are rappers.
So you are, I think, handling A&R at Kalamkaar, or maybe not, but you know that side of the.
No, I do. I mean, as in we at Kalamkar we have like a quite a fluid structure. So
Okay.
I do a lot of the um, sort of decision making and stuff is between us. Like
Right.
everyone
Okay.
talks about it, and it's not nothing is sort of unilateral as such.
Right.
So and then over and above that, if we are signing newer artists and stuff, so obviously there is that little bit of vetting through the process and then seeing if they can really how much potential and what we can do and all of that.
Because I remember you said in your TED talk that the guy you gave your CD to, he never heard it.
Yeah.
That was the first thing when you said he said it sounded international. I was like, oh, I'm sure he didn't hear it because that's just how it goes. But which I heard later in a later interview of yours, you said he never heard it, and I was like, oh, that's right. But do you then listen to everything that comes your way? Do you even have the time or?
Nobody sends me stuff, honestly. I think people do
Oh,
send me stuff on Instagram and stuff,
right.
but it's too much clutter. It's just too much clutter. Like
Mm.
if it comes to Kalamkaar and if somebody hears it there and they think it's good, then it's gonna get played and then
Oh,
I'm gonna hear it.
okay. Okay, lovely. I want to wrap up with some quick ones. Chai or coffee?
Coffee,
Caps or sneakers?
sneakers.
Really? Okay, I thought you'd say
Yeah.
caps. Would you rather rap about love or would you rather rap about alcohol, partying, girls? You have to pick one. Mm.
Um, Alcohol partying girls is way easier, so I might
Oh,
choose that.
you take the easy way out.
No, not really. I don't know which one I would do, but yeah, I'm just like taking the easy way out right now.
Okay. Okay. MC Fixer and the Royal Rappers or the illicit cash mob?
um, Illicit cash mob.
Reason? Just
I
okay.
think illicit cash mob was just a lot. Uh, it was a lot more a thing. You know what I mean? Like
Mm,
Royal Rappers was we were super young um and we were just messing around. We never saw it as something that it would become something. But as Royal Rappers, me and my friend, we really had a dream. We really thought we could do this. So I think the Royal Rappers. Sorry, Illicit Cash Mob.
all right. Okay.
Yeah,
Delhi or Gurgaon?
Gurgaon.
Ooh, okay. Do you have a favorite metaphor from any of your songs or from the album? One of your favoritist?
Um, I really don't. It's like picking between your children.
Right. Yeah, just anyone off the top of your head. You
I
wrote
think
it and you were like, damn, did I just write that?
I think the I think the Bailando in Untitled.
Hmm.
There are a few more, just not on top of my head, but there are a
Okay.
few more that I really like,
Okay.
and I'm like,
Untitled.
how did I write this?
Untitled is actually one of my favorites. I keep listening to it. Any favorite retro Bollywood song? Just curious.
Not really.
No, not at
No,
all. Okay. Um, people really want to know about your future collabs.
I have a few coming. I have one coming really soon, like
Okay.
really soon.
Can I throw some names at you? Young Stunners.
Um, I mean, yes, will happen, but I don't know when.
Okay. See them all.
Seedhe Moth should happen too. I mean, it almost happened earlier, but I was just wrapping up my album, and there were things that were sort of not in place at that moment.
Okay.
Um, in fact, that uh, Namastute
Yeah.
we were planning to do together as well, but it was just not the right time at that moment.
Oh, okay.
So soon with them.
Okay. So the one that's coming soon is not with them, it's someone else.
No, it's not with them.
Mhm. But you can't tell us. Okay.
No,
Any song,
I have
any
a few. I have a few actually. I have a few that are coming. So yeah.
okay. So do you prefer collabs or you prefer solo projects? Or collabs are a
They both
challenge?
they no they serve very different purposes.
Okay.
I see as collabs like filling in the gaps between solo projects. So I
Yeah.
think they keep the sort of momentum going
Right.
and are a nice sort of feather to add to your cap.
Mm. So, quickly, you talked about legacy in your interview with Rohan. Very interesting how you defined it. And I was watching this interview with A.R. Rahman. He said legacy is about how much of a cultural impact you're leaving behind,
Right.
how much you're changing the music landscape for the better. Is that how it is for you as well? Always top of your mind, sort of, when you're
Yeah,
creating?
I think it's not always possible to make a song that's going to be defined as something that's sort of
Change the game. Mm.
timeless, or game changing or anything like that. But if you keep that in mind, like every time you go in, you think that maybe I'm going to do something that'll sort of stay,
Mm.
then in this day and age, that's super important, because honestly nothing stays, you know
Yeah,
so if
right.
you can make something that lasts, then I think that's important. That kind of contributes to it.
Right. And you've had so many phases. You've said this before where, you thought this was it and then it's gone and then come back and it's gone. Um,
Right.
do you think when you look back and think about it all, do you think that hip hop found you or you found hip hop?
I think I found hip hop.
Mm.
Hip hop was there. It was already there. It's
Mm.
just that I found it.
Okay.
And I think it just kind of
Kept pulling you
it's
back.
just yeah, I think it just that's what's happened, like all through. Like whenever I've thought, like, I can't or I won't do it,
Mm.
it's just something has happened and it's just come back.
Yeah.
So I think it's just meant to be.
Lovely. On that note, thank you so much for taking the
Thank you.
time. I know you don't do this often, so I really, really appreciate it. It's an amazing 50K special for the channel. And
No
also,
problem, and congratulations. It was
thank you so.
a quick 50K too.
Is it a year? Okay.
I
Yeah. I don't
I
know.
think it is. I mean, people
Thank you.
spend lots of time trying to get subscribers, so I guess it's a good thing.
Yay. Thank you. I really hope Awam takes whatever they needed out of this conversation. And I guess if they don't, then it's all there in your music, right?
Right.
Super. Thank you so much.
Okay,
Take care,
thank you.
guys. Live long and
Thanks.
prosper.
Peace.